We're heading up the Notch Trail today. It's on the western side of the Appalachian Trail in New Hampshire. The other side is in Maine, pretty much. And this goes up to the Mahoosuc Notch, which is one of the most difficult sections of the AT. Right now I don't intend to hike the whole AT, so I'm doing some of the sections of it, some of the more interesting ones. I've got about a 6-mile hike planned to go down through the notch and back. But if there's enough time, I'll go up to the Mahoosuc Arm, which has a very nice view. These are not blueberries. A companion, or someone I met hiking one time, ate some of these without my knowing it, and he lost the berries and his breakfast. I've hiked about 2 miles. The road is 2.5, but the parking lot's about 2 miles. In about 45 minutes, there really wasn't a lot of vertical involved, and I've reached the Appalachian Trail. And this sign says Appalachian Trail and to the left Mahoosuc Notch. I've stayed at the Speck Pond campsite. I'm not going that far today, but it's very beautiful. And Old Speck Mountain is a bit further on. Nice view from there, and is now included in the Grafton Loop, which is part Appalachian Trail and part New Trail. So here's the beginning of Mahoosuc Notch. Already looks like it has some ups and downs. So already it's getting interesting here. It's all sorts of bouldering and stuff like that. You have to brace against rocks and push yourself up and sideways as you go. And I can see that some people think that it's really difficult, but I think it's a lot of fun. Of course, I'm slack packing today. I don't have a big backpack on, so that makes a difference. It's incredibly cool down in here, which is really nice. Even in the sunlight, there's some cool air just channeling through here. And when you get to this point, you have to decide whether you want to go down through and back up, or up over the side and slide down to the other rock. I usually prefer to climb rather than go down, with the potential for twisting an ankle or whatever, but to each his own. And of course, the butterfly doesn't worry about how to get around the rocks, it just flies over them. I'm sure there's some people that wish they could when they were going through here. So you can go down around the end, you can go right over the side here, and you have to go around that rock and find your way up through. It's a good puzzle. Here's a little insight as to why it's so cool down here. It's July 19th, and yes, that is ice. The sun just doesn't get down in here. I wouldn't be surprised if that stays year-round. Air temperature right now, about 70 degrees. Well, at least above the bottom of the pit here. Trails become a little bit more regular. I'm headed north right now, which right now is pretty much down. I think that's going to change pretty soon to go up to Mahoosuc Arm. But as you see, there's some nice scenery all around, not just the trail itself. There are the mountains that form the notch. The trail now appears to go around the side of this massive boulder here. Yeah, there's a white mark right there. So we'll work our way up there and see where it ends up. I'm around the side of that boulder now. And the trail goes right up through. I could probably just hold on and walk right up that rock. But I think I'll jam my foot down in the crack there and then reach for the top of that first rock right there. You can't really see it with there. Just pull myself up that way. The other cool thing about this is there are multiple possible routes just right down here in the bottom of the valley or the notch. This is the way I came, but I'm going to go around the corner and show you a different one. You can work your way right through this one. And then I came over through here. Down here it's kind of dark, but it looks like a perfect bear den for the winter. Pretty protected once there's some snow in there. Got an orphan water bottle here. Not sure if it was left today or 2 weeks ago. It's an interesting section. Looks like you could come down on what's now my left-hand side, but I came down the right-hand side. Trail markers seem to go that way. I'm sure you can find an alternate route if you want to, though. Came down the hill a few hundred yards. Was on kind of a regular trail. I thought, oh, well, the bouldering's over. And I met somebody who had just come through this section the other way, and he thought the bouldering was over. So we both got a little more work to do here. Here's a place where I'm sure you can work your way down through. I think I'll stay up on top because the rocks are more likely drier. But you could have a lot of fun with this. I'll be going down around this way. Well, it turns out I came down through the mini cave there. Like working my way down through a refrigerator. Cool in so many ways. This was the alternate route. I looked at it and it looked a little more challenging, but it was fun going underneath. You can also see that there's a third route which is possible. I don't know if anybody ever uses it. Looks kind of mossy, but there would be another way. So this is what I face when I come out the other way. And it looks like I'll need to work from the top of one rock to another and just hold on. Here's a little arrow that says, go under this rock, not under this one. Or that one. I think I'll follow the arrow. Yes, there is a trail here. I've decided to continue up to Mahoosuc Arm. I have enough time and it'll go just as fast as going back through the notch. It's a beautiful day. It's only about 2 o'clock. I've got 7 hours of daylight. This arrow seems to say go right up over the top of this big boulder. Doesn't look like a regular trail marker. I think I'll explore some alternatives. The regular trail markers say go up through this little passage right here. Must be a lot of fun with a big pack. I'm in the process of going underneath another rock, or a set of rocks. Come through and then go right up through there. Here's where you pass the thin test after months on the trail. I'm a wide body, so it's gonna be close even if I turn sideways. We'll see how it goes. Things that make you say, could this be the end of the boulders? Looks pretty smooth. Yeah, that was definitely the end of the boulders right there. Maybe the end of the big ones anyway. Here's a beautiful brook just south of and below the Mahoosuc Arm peak. Reminds me of Indian Falls over in the Adirondacks. Not on the same scale, but very pretty. Getting near the top of Mahoosuc Arm. This looks difficult, but it's really not. It's a little too steep just to walk straight up it, but you can crisscross back and forth and it's a natural staircase. Here I am on the side of Mahoosuc Arm, looking back at the notch. It's kind of around the corner. That's Mahoosuc Mountain right there. It's not quite as tall as this is. There are the cliffs and the notch. That's just kind of the beginning of it. It stretches back a mile there. Pretty much forest. The only thing you can see from here. I'm on the top of Mahoosuc Arm. The lower dark one here is Mahoosuc Mountain. Here's another view from Mahoosuc Arm. I think that was maybe Sunday River ski area. I don't know my peaks up here very well, but I'm thinking maybe that's Baldpate. I do know for sure that this is Old Speck, which is a 4,000 footer, has a little fire tower on the top. I have been up there. That's the Speck Pond that's down below here. And I'm going to take the May cutoff to the Speck Pond Trail, go down the Speck Pond Trail, and I have a little road walk back to the Notch Trail. Only 2.7 miles back to the Notch Trail. Took about 3.5 hours. Of course, I was dogging it coming up this peak, but going through Mahoosuc Notch took a while.